Actually, all these classes about the last 6 years have really been an introduction to Morse code. We don't teach Morse code in the class, but we tell you, try to share with you, you share with us. That's why we call it a forum instead of a class. And we try to exchange information. Where did it come from? What's it doing? How is it changing? How do we use it? Tonight we're going to look at some what I call interesting abbreviations and other stuff. And you'll see as we get on in here what some of the other stuff is. First of all, Bill Lyles. He came up with did an analysis here of the reverse beacon network. And so the folks that are learning Morse code don't think that you have to learn it at 60, 70 words a minute, 30 words a minute. If you take a look at this first line here, this is what we're going to be looking at, and then we're going to be looking at all the bands. So initially we see the band and it says 160 and it'll say 80, 40, 20, 10, so on.
Stop. Sorry.
Are we under attack?
Yes, by photons. You're in a shadow.
Oh, I'm a shadow of my former self, right?
We always live in the shade of our own skin.
Yeah, we should live in the shade of our own shadow.
Please continue.
All right.
Thank you.
So you see there the band. The next thing is a minimum words per minute that was recorded on 160 by the reverse beacon network. The maximum is 48 in this particular case. Average speed on 160 meters was 23 words a minute, and the median was 23 words a minute. So the reason I'm explaining that one line, because you'll see with a whole bunch of numbers there, it'll be hard to understand it until you know what you're looking at. So let's take a look at the other bands that we see there. And so folks that are starting to learn Morse code, don't think that you have to be a whiz-bang in order to communicate. If you look on there, you'll see that the minimum words per minute is rather slow, like maybe 1 word a minute, 2 words a minute. This is what's been recorded on the reverse beacon network. Average, it looks to me like if you're doing 25 words a minute, you'll be very comfortable there. So you don't have to go into some of these to worry about learning Morse code at some real high speeds. That's just a piece of information. I'd like to have you feel comfortable as you're learning the code, that you don't have to really be 48 words a minute in order to be competitive or to communicative on the bands there. All right, now some of the communications. We had our last NAQ PCW contest. Some of these questions came up to me as we were going through the exercise. What do you do if you miss a critical part of a QSO? How do you go about saying, hey, I missed part of that? Well, as you might imagine, there is a code, an abbreviation, because most everything in CW is abbreviated. And we talk about a QSO. That's just the conversation that we're having. We're having an eyeball QSO right now, if you want to look at it that way. Now, here we've have communicated, and you see there that K4HTA has been talking to K9LID. And when he finishes, the response back in is 3 R's. AGN, AA, and money. So let's see what that really says. If you look in the book, you'll see that R says, I copied you 100%. So if you finish the communication, you send, did I did? That means I copied you 100%, and then that person that did that is going to go ahead and respond back. But what did we see here? We see that K9LID copied this person 300%. Well, wait a minute. He sends the word AGN again, and then he sends the pro word AA. AA means all after, and we have our telegrapher here. It needs to turn it on. Oh. It's sent as one single character. All after. So now we said, I copied you 300%, but send all after the word money. So then, now we have the first abbreviation, AA, all after. Supposing okay, now this is the better way to send it. You don't send an R because you didn't copy them 100%. You copied him something other than that, so you say again, all after money. And then he will come back when you send the K, which is abbreviation for over, back to you. Then the K4HTA then would send him everything after the word money. So there you see that the pro sign AA money is all after. And for those that haven't been listening for the last 5 minutes, there it is on the screen again. All right. Supposing all before. So RPT, repeat, AB. Let's see what AB here. One sent as a single character. It's a pro sign. It's sent as a single character, AB. So send or repeat all after check. You notice there's not an R there because our station did not copy 100%. And AB all, and then AB, oh, I'm sorry, not all after, all before. Are your fingers getting sticky?
No, they're getting in the way.
Oh, okay. And if it happens to be a long sentence and you want to try to get 2 words in between, send BN between BMW and the word crash. Now, wouldn't that make you feel comfortable? So send everything between BMW and crash. So those are some of the abbreviations that you can communicate back and forth very easily to correct and fill in any voids that you have.
Reason you said send instead of between,
Pardon me?
or again?
Again, AGN or repeat?
Yeah, you said send the second time. Is there a distinction between send and again?
AGN is the right one. Okay, another abbreviation you can see there, now we're finished, TNX or TU is another abbreviation, thank you, TU, or TNX is another, where's Mike? Mike uses TNX, where's Mike? Oh, there you are, oh yeah, there's Mike over there with TNX, so I put that in there for you, Mike. CUL, see you later, of course, a lot of texters use that, this stuff is not really that unique. CUL 73. That's from the old railroad code. 73 means best regards or something like that. And another pro sign. Ron, what's this pro sign coming up?
SK?
SK.
SK.
End of message. And you sent as a single character. Yes. Yes. Shave and a haircut, 6 bits, right? Okay, CUL means see is equivalent of see you later. 73, best regards, thank you, goodbye, something like that. And SK is the end of the contact. So when you're all finished, you can send beep, beep, and the other guy sends bip, bip, and everybody smiles and goes on. Well, there's another way to do that. Whoops, 161. Anybody ever heard of 161? We got, pardon me? That's 88. 88 is love and kisses. 61, what is that? Well, 161 is 73 and 88. So that's hugs and kisses, and if you look at it, best regard to you and to your wife. So really depends on kind of a relationship you have, whether or not that's appropriate. That came up with, you're familiar with the G5RV antenna? Fellow that designed the G5RV antenna was able to add those 2 numbers together and presented that. Okay, we're going to look at some more obscure abbreviations. FB, not so obscure. This is something that we use and have been using for a long time, and it's pretty much in just standard conversation, FB. However, if things are really good, why not use VFB? And once more, a little more obscure, how about if they're really great? What do you think? So, if you want to send some of these on our reflector, another way to communicate when things are really great. Now, where's Roger?
Back here.
Roger.
Yes,
Roger is very familiar with this.
that's right.
What's QLF question mark, Roger?
You try sending with your left foot.
Are you sending with your left foot? There's a Q sign that you probably won't find in the regular manual. And of course, Roger sends back. I am sending with my left foot. So,
Does anybody have a handy copy? John AF4PD dropped me off at the elementary school and I got in somebody else's car and took me here, so he's probably looking for me. In other words, I just rode with John at AF4PD. Somebody can hit the repeater.
I heard one somewhere around.
Yeah, Brendan has one over by the cafeteria.
Kirk is over there, too.
okay. Well, if you want to get him, then that would be the place to go.
So,
Continue
okay,
with the
nobody else
lecture,
has-
please.
Yeah.
Nobody else has a handy copy.
Okay. Now, if you happen to be a QRP, low power, instead of sending a 73, the real dyed-in-the-wool QRPers send a 72. In other words, best regards, and I am doing more with less. I told you these were obscure, and this is the other stuff in the title here. There's more. It goes on. QRP, let's see what that says. All right. QRP, when you care to send the very least. And let's take a look at our initial president. Let's see, we've looked at that one. Life is too short for QRP. That is a contribution from
Ray.
N5RJ.
That's Ray Johnson.
Ray Johnson, and he says life is too short for KRP. As the room warms up with the glow of the finals and everything, the house shutters. Yes?
He was on the 2-meter net, and I think John Transu was saying, "Oh, are you doing QRP?" And Ray comes back, "Oh no, that's against my religion."
Oh, and you can believe it too. Absolutely.
What, 100 watts?
Okay. Cut numbers. When you're sending a whole series of numbers, there's an abbreviation for these numbers. And Ron and I had a discussion here tonight, and we decided that the cut numbers are just about whatever your agency wants to use for a cut number. Now, you can imagine when you're sending some of these numbers, if you were going to send us a 1, Ron, just a 1. And then we have a replacement for the 1, the character A, so send us an A. Quite a bit of difference, especially if you've got a whole lot of numbers to send. And when we're communicating, one of the numbers that we send a lot is a 599. And the 9 is just about the longest character in the alphabet. We'll move over there in just a minute. So instead of a 9, we would send an N. That seems to be a rather logical assumption. And instead of a 0, we can send a T. In other words, T for 10. Another very short character that allows us to send these numbers in a fast way. So if we were going to send the number 1, would be like, and the alternative, quite a bit of difference. So if you have a whole series of numbers, you can see that it's faster to send the cut numbers.
Do you send a cosine or something before you send cut numbers?
That's a good point, because the person that's receiving has to know that you're sending a bunch of numbers. You don't send a prosine and then says, I'm going to send you a bunch of numbers. You're just going to send maybe serial numbers. He knows that you're going to send the serial numbers, or you said have an agreement ahead of time, so that when you do send them, they're not mixed up with alpha characters. So that's part of it. The other part of it that Ron and I talked about was the different cut numbers. And why don't you give just a brief explanation of your
reason
experience?
for cut numbers, guys, basically is time on the air. And it was actually, they came up with cut numbers for communicating with agents. Okay, so you have an Asian in the field who's sitting there in a farmhouse or whatever, and he's copying,
KW camp.
and he doesn't want to be on the air too long. So instead of sending a long message of 5-letter code groups, we send 5 number code groups. You can imagine how much less time he has to sit there and copy, and how much less time you're on the air or he's on the air sending back to you. We had Asian cut numbers for the Asian group, and we had European cut numbers, and it's totally different than what Pete has right here. But that's what we used, and it works great. I just take my fingers and just put them up on the top key. And you never hear an A. You know that it's just cut numbers coming at you, so you know an A isn't an A. You hit 1.
Oh, yeah, this isn't confusing at all.
Oh, no.
Well,
But once
So
you
what's the
copy
standard
10
at
hours a
field
day, CW, Ray,
pardon?
What's the standard at field day?
Regular numbers, no cut numbers.
regular, we don't cut.
Except for 599.
The only cut numbers we use is
How do you do
599.
599 at field day? So you're using the cut number at.
5
field day.
a.m.
Yeah, and that's not only field day, that's any kind of a contest.
Yeah.
Instead of sending, well, here we have an opportunity. Go ahead, and I think I have it here.
Never send
Oh,
599.
I'm in a meeting, another guy drove me to the meeting. There's a W3A check. that
Oh,
I
Bill.
arrived.
Bill, please, you're interrupting.
There what would 599 looks like if you were to send it with the regular ones. And so obviously the 5NN is a much better solution.
And there's a kind of a definition that that's what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah. You'll hear that. Send that pattern again. You'll hear that over and over. That's as familiar as CQ.
It is.
Yeah, just,
The expeditions use 599.
oh yeah,
And I don't care if you're 422.
yeah.
Still 599.
Yeah, yeah. Those.
Don't ever be in a contest and give a guy a 463. Everybody's 599. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody got that?
And here's another time that you don't have to really explain it. If you're talking about my power is, you would say 3TT, we'd know automatically that's 300 watts or whatever it happens to be.
That's the most ones that we cut in hammer, 0 and 9.
0, right, exactly.
0 and 9.
Yes. Okay, now for those who really like Morse code, let your fingers do the talking. And that's why we have the CW forum, that's why we have the CW net, is so that you can enjoy Morse code as it was originally conceived in the 1890s, 1900s, and so on. Let your fingers do the talking. We're the ones that'll help you learn it, and we'll be more than happy to have you join our net. Now, we're going to make a change in the program. Next month, that's going to be the first meeting of the month, we're going to have, in lieu of the CW forum, we're going to change the pattern. We're going to switch from the CW forum to a digital voice network forum, so that we're going to exchange and get some more interest in the digital voice forum. And as time goes on, we're not saying that every meeting is going to be digital voice and no more CW, and there's not the opposite either. But as the questions come up from the membership, if there's a topic for the CW forum, we will do the CW forum that first meeting of the month. If there's a topic for digital voice, we're going to do that. The presumption at this point is there's going to be an interest in digital voice for the next several months. So the first meeting of each month, Brendan will take the lead, and he will conduct the digital voice forum at the beginning of the month. So that'll be the first meeting. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, send an email to Brendan, because he will be leading that. I'll be working with him, and we will continue with the CW forum, but not with the major emphasis that we have placed on it for about the last 6 years. So we're going to expand a little bit, cover digital voice, because there seems to be some interest in that. And we've pretty well leveled off with our CW net. We have, what do we have, Nancy, about 6, 7 people that routinely show up. and far away as, where was it? Sierra Leone, right, Sierra Leone, England, far away is Montana, up in the snow country. Eureka, yes, Eureka, Montana, and
Someone in the UK.
Fairfax
isn't
too.
there?
Pardon me?
Someone in the UK, isn't there?
Yes, there's two of them, that's right, there are two of them there. And then we have people as far away as Fairfax and so on. So, join us, we're on TeamSpeak every Wednesday night. Any questions tonight about other stuff? Oh, I'm sorry, yes, go right ahead, Ron, thank you.
One more thing,
Turn
guys.
off the projector while we're about.
Yes, let's cool her down.
Guys, you all use Q and Z signals, right? I know, well, let's say Q signals, QTH, QRO, etc. This is a downloadable document called ACP-131. ACP, Allied Communication Procedures 131. It has every Q signal in the whole world in here, and every Z signal. Q signals were for CW, and Z signals were for radio teletype. And they're all in here. I mean, everything you can imagine. So this is a downloadable doc. Print it out, make a nice book, and you can have,
Thank you.
you want to have that one?
I have this one, thank you.
Take it.
Thank
All right, thank you.
All bound up and everything. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, QLF, right?
ACP what again? ACP 131, Allied Communication Procedures 131.
It's a really great reference, especially if you have an interest in communications of various types. Hold up the applause. Thank you.